match, Frank Arrock has chosen an enterprising Socceroo lineup, almost the same as that which did so well against Malmo in their second meeting last month. Young midfielder Jason Polak is out of the starting lineup due to his injury, replaced by Mickey Petersen, and young sweeper Andy Koczka makes way for returning captain Charlie Yankos. It will indeed be a big day for central defenders. Charlie Yankos returns from overseas after missing only the 2 match against Malmo to make his 80th appearance for Australia, a feat equalled by just 4 players in Socceroo history. At the other end, captaining New Zealand will be Ricky Herbert, once of Sydney Olympic and Wolverhampton Wanderers. He is the only New Zealander surviving from that famous day in 1981, when as a youthful 20-year-old he helped the Kiwis oust Australia from the World Cup. He takes place in the Kiwi lineup, which sees 2 changes from the team which lost to Israel last Sunday. 25-year-old Dave Witteveen comes in to replace Winton Rufer, who has gone back to his Swiss club. And also the defender Gary Lunn has reported sick this morning, so he's a late change. He's out and he's been replaced by Tony Levy. So they're the 2 lineups today, and the referee at the middle of the park, of course, is Mr. Takada of Japan, and you might remember him. He was in charge of the match between Australia and Egypt in the 1987 President's Cup semi-final in Seoul in Korea. A brilliant match it was, eventually decided on penalties in Australia's favour. 1985, on this patch of dirt here, was the last time they met in the World Cup. They've met a number of times since then, but Australia has usually had the upper hand. And the record goes back a long way between the 2 countries. They have played each other since 1922, 44 times, and Australia have the balance their way with 24 victories, New Zealand just 10. So here's Alan Davidson. Ollerenshaw. Now Arnold looking for the square ball, looking for Petersen. Petersen looks at him, wonders why the lack of communication. And it'll be a New Zealand throw on the far side. New Zealand training on this ground yesterday, which was rather waterlogged after the rain, but very impressed with the surface here at the Sydney Football Stadium. And Clint Gosling gets a touch. So forward by Dunford. Calderan, a long ball, Spink is onto it, but so was Malcolm Dunford. Savor getting the better of Noel Barkley. But it's still New Zealand on the break. And they need to score goals here. A draw will not do for them. And quite an enterprising New Zealand attack. Riley, square ball, and this is dangerous. A man left alone, left clear. Noel Barkley looks at the referee, who has given a goal kick, but one must wonder how that player was left unmarked. I think the offside trap was played. And Australia almost caught out. The early nerves in the match. This is the World Cup, not a Trans-Tasman series. Here's Davidson. Ollerenshaw. This was gone Australia's way. And Davidson will have the free kick. Here's Calderan. Square for Charlie Yankos. Paul Wade has positioned himself on the flank. And now Arnold, he slips one in towards Spink. And the whistle's gone already. Flag up on the far side. Warren Spink, the man penalised. Might be worth a look here, and Warren Spink even on replay looking very much as though he was offside. Free kick's gone New Zealand's way. Evans playing it safe for Clint Gosling. Long ball up the middle is going to be utilised, I suspect, rather frequently by the New Zealanders. That was Mason forward. Barkley. The challenge coming from Wally Savor, New Zealand throw. The question is which team is going to be the first to settle here and play the game with the required confidence, of course counterbalanced against that is the fact that the New Zealanders are always pumped up to a great degree for these matches against the neighbouring rivals, improving their performance by probably 25-30%. Something they didn't have when they played Israel in Tel Aviv last Sunday. Jeff Olver. Calderan. Looking relaxed and confident. Here's Savor. Ollerenshaw has made a run. So did Spink. And the long ball forward from Calderan, not finding Ollerenshaw. Here's Ricky Herbert. Now Levy. Tackled by Crino. He looks at the referee, who's given a throw to be taken by Herbert. Levy. Little back heel, finds only Crino. He's going to look for a free man somewhere. Here's Calderan. Arnold's on the right. Ollerenshaw's made a run through the middle. He can't get there, I fancy. Kerry Evans was quicker to the ball. Spink down for Davidson. Arnold's available. Here's Davidson. Crino. Square for Wade. Little flick to Arnold. Crino. Petersen. Misunderstanding between the two, allowing New Zealand to come out. Here's Witteveen. Interception was by Petersen. Crino. And lots of space for Graham Arnold. Just a little bit too relaxed with his control, allowing New Zealand to come away. Here's Levy, who came on as a sub in the first match against Israel last week. And Davidson was quicker to the ball than was Danny Halligan. And Frank Arrock doesn't relish these early minutes. He wants to see his team settle and dictate the play as it should on these home matches. Yankos. Davidson down for Crino, who wants to switch the play to the other side, and he does so with Calderan. Savor. Arnold did well to win the ball, and a long one for Ollerenshaw, who was fighting with Kerry Evans to get to the ball. Kerry Evans positioning himself well. Now Barkley goes out for a goal kick, and 10 minutes gone. It's still no score, and Johnny Warren, it'll be a corner in fact given to New Zealand.
This is a test for Australia, Les. I feel one of the areas where the Kiwis could trouble us is from set pieces, corner kicks, free kicks. They have some good players in the air, and it'll be interesting to see how this first corner comes out. It's necessary Australia handles it well.
And it comes from Witteveen, punched by the keeper, but the referee on the spot to spot a infringement against Jeff Olver. So, right, Johnny Warren, we have seen some problems from the New Zealanders from set pieces, and the referee seeing a push on goalkeeper Jeff Olver, allowing Australia to get the free kick. Here's Davidson. Arnold. And a great ball to Petersen. The header down to Wade. The return ball to Petersen. Well intercepted by Evans. Still Australia. Here's Ollerenshaw. Crino's on his right. Down for Wade, and the chip towards Ollerenshaw, and a New Zealand, it'll be an Australian throw, and it shapes up as an enjoyable game for the fans here today. Ollerenshaw, Crino, Calderan back, and the Australians forced out by the New Zealand defenders. Frank Arrock is not all that pleased at this stage. Johnny Warren, the team's yet to settle really, but the Australians looking the more confident of the two sides.
Well, a very tentative start, Les, and it's understandable. There's so much at stake. A loss for either side today is going to seriously hamper their chances of qualifying. But for Australia, I think once you see that midfield quartet, Davidson, Petersen, Crino, Wade becoming more involved in the game, then we're going to see more in an attacking sense. But very tentative. I think Australia has to be patient. The crowd are very anxious for them to get into their rhythm. They haven't got it yet. And I think it's going to be probably a few more minutes yet before we see either side really settle into their pattern.
So a New Zealand free kick. And it'll be the safe one home to Clint Gosling, who's having trouble finding a place in the first team of his club, Sydney Olympic, at the moment. Here's Ricky Herbert. A very youthful 20-year-old he was when New Zealand played Australia in that historic match across the road back in 1981. Here's Halligan, and the flag's up on this side, an all Japanese trio of officials, by the way. And there are real problems from Mr. Takada back in 1987 when he refereed that match between Australia and Egypt. Had a good game. Now Arnold, and a free man is Spink, and he put it away, and he can't. There was a foot from Dave Witteveen, the New Zealand hero, for the moment, much to the chagrin of Frank Arrock. And a good ball it was through to Warren Spink from Graham Arnold, finding the free man. And Witteveen did extremely well to intercede. Here then is the corner, Ollerenshaw. Eluding the entire group of defenders. It goes behind for another corner. But there's the chance again for Warren Spink from the other side, from the reverse angle. And a fruitless corner to New Zealand. So here is another for the Australians. pressure on the goalkeeper, Clint Gosling, but he gets away with it. And away come the Kiwis. Australian throw. Davidson. Ollerenshaw looking for Spink. Interception was from Dunford. Down McClellan. Chris Riley. I think the New Zealand coach, John Outside, has done his homework well, his preparation well. There's no panic in the New Zealand side at the moment, which a lot of people may have expected given their position, having dropped 2 points in Israel. Here's Charlie Yankos for Australia, looking for Arnold and finding him with a good ball, but he's forced wide. Back heel to Davidson. Can he get the reverse cross in? Yes, he can. Spink was the man who met it. Couldn't turn quite onto it as he wanted to. Okay, the ball came rocketing in towards him. But Alan Davidson getting away well. The early damage being done by Graham Arnold. Lovely back heel here. And the New Zealand defence absolutely checkmated. Good cross in, but I'm not sure whether it was meant for Warren Spink. At any rate, New Zealand escape. Good work by Graham Arnold. Lovely back heel. And Alan Davidson knows how to cross them in. But I'm not sure whether Warren Spink was his target. Here come the Aussies again. Paul Wade. Looking for Ollerenshaw. The Australian strikers well shadowed at the moment. Well looked after. Herbert towards Halligan. Now Arnold. Spink has to watch he doesn't stay onside. Now Ollerenshaw's onside. Ollerenshaw with the right foot. Interception. Now Crino. Yes, 1-0. Australia has scored after 15 minutes. Oscar Crino. So reminiscent of the goal as Frank Arrow knows that he scored against New Zealand in the Olympic qualifiers here early last year. Scotty Ollerenshaw got the ball, he tried it with his right foot. That was cut off by Kerry Evans, and then Oscar Crino had the time to plonk it in. So relief for Australia after the quarter of an hour, leading 1-0, and Oscar Crino, well, they said his blood count was down, that he had all sorts of problems with his health, that he was jaded, but he played well against Malmo in that second game in Sydney, and now scored what may be a very vital goal for Australia. John.
Splendid goal. Great strike from Oscar. Difficult one to get over the top of, but that's full marks to Graham Arnold. Setting it up, setting Ollerenshaw up. Army's becoming more and more involved in the game. That's a good sign for Australia. But a dream start, really, Les, after such a short time to be in front. Again, New Zealand have to win this match. They're going to have to gamble a lot more than they have so far. And in doing so, are going to create a lot more room in an attacking sense for the mobile Spink and Ollerenshaw.
All right, Australia, a more confident Australia away now. Arnold trying the long ball, looking for Paul Wade on the far side, who's been hogging that flank quite obsessively in the minutes that have elapsed so far. So Oscar Crino scoring his 5th goal in full internationals for Australia. Frank Garrick knows that there's quite a bit of time to go yet. But the mental fortitude of the Aussies is such that there shouldn't be any real problems. Here's Wally Savor. And now Charlie Yankos, who hasn't had too much to worry about thus far in the game. Free kick to New Zealand. Warren Spink penalised. Forward by Herbert, and not a bad idea from Danny Halligan. Goal kick to Australia. Here's Charlie Yankos, and very free and available Mickey Petersen. Crino. And now it's Calderan, relishing his task, making his debut in a full international for Australia. Oscar Crino gliding past two, and the pass just not powerful enough to get to Alan Davidson, but it's still Australia who get the last laugh here with a corner. Bit of a panicky interception, and now I think it's Danny Halligan who's got blood streaming down the left side of his face. I'm not sure whether the referee will stop play to allow him to be attended to. Oscar Crino allowed to take the corner. In towards the goalkeeper, who punches, and the whistle's gone for a foul on the keeper. Clint Gosling getting the favour of the referee. He's played some splendid games against Australia. I remember one in a Trans-Tasman game in Wellington, which the New Zealanders won 1-0. And he did a good job here, under pressure, from Charlie Yankos, who can be an awesome opponent when you go up for a high ball. Halligan grappling with Crino, who's the winner. Here's Ollerenshaw, shielding the ball well. Crino to Arnold. Ollerenshaw gets the luck of the bounce. Spink is on the far side. He's being marked. Ollerenshaw tried to play it into him. And Malcolm Dunford comes to New Zealand's rescue. And the referee has given a free kick to Australia for offside, which Charlie Yankos will take. 80th game in a Socceroo shirt. And only 4 players have bettered that in the past for Australia. Potia Bonya, John Kuzmina, Jimmy Rooney and Peter Wilson. And I might say that as we watch another free kick in favour of Australia to be taken, that Graham Jennings is on the same statistic as well. Should he come on? Here's Calderan. Crino. Petersen takes over. Back to Calderan. Looking for the options. Yankos has men on his right, but he goes for the long one towards Davo and finds him. Beautiful pass. A little casual from Alan Davidson. Forward from Herbert. Yankos. Petersen. Looks for Ollerenshaw, who tries to take the race up to Kerry Evans, who took the safe way out. So New Zealand now looking down the barrel of quite a distressing situation. And it's Alan Davidson who's down from that earlier clash. The great old warhorse Alan Davidson, John.
Yes, one of the greats, certainly in the past 25 years, Davo, in really good form. Hasn't been really prominent so far yet, and I feel once he becomes involved in the game, Australia's hopes will rise even more significantly. But just a few observations, Les. The long passing of Charlie Yankos has really been superb. He's been finding the forwards. The forwards are very mobile, particularly Ollerenshaw and Spink. But at the moment, it's Australia's time to really consolidate their dominance. They're on top. They've got most of the possession. And another goal now would be a killer goal. And it's something I feel they've really got to strive for, because that would really put New Zealand out of business. Not only that, but a 2-goal advantage in this tie would technically put them in front of Israel, who only won 1-0 against New Zealand at home, should this series be decided on goal difference, which could and conceivably could decide who goes on to the next round of this World Cup group. But Arnold in good form, which is good news. I'd like to see perhaps Petersen and Wade coming into the game a little bit more than they have been so far.
Ollerenshaw made the cross, Ceri Evans the clearance again, and it'll be another Australian corner. I couldn't agree with you more, John. This is no time to sit back on your laurels and try to protect a 1-0 lead. The Aussies do need that second goal for a proper cushion, and Oscar Crino will be looking for that when he takes this corner. Alan Davidson up and around. So Crino, his last corner went very close to Clint Gosling. This is a bit further out. Up goes Wade, but so did Ceri Evans, who turns it behind for another corner from the far side. So the corners in Australian favour coming with great frequency. Mainly, I must say, because the New Zealand defenders quite willing to put them behind to take the safe way out. But puts the pressure on this man, Clint Gosling. And this time, Scotty Ollerenshaw will take the in-swinger. Floated towards Yankos, punched away by Gosling. Petersen down, Calderan. And that's stolen. Here's Levy. Counter-attack by New Zealand, and there's a free man. The number 3, Malcolm Dunford's made a run, and he hurried the shot. I felt he had a bit more time. Away comes Crino, and it's 3 against 4 for Australia. 4 against 4 now. Here's Arnold. And the pass a little bit too hurried. Here's Levy, being a busy man. Came on late after Gary Lund reported sick and was included in the New Zealand lineup just this morning. Here's Witteveen. Crino. New Zealand throw. Levy. Dropped inside, and Olver comes out well, and there was a foul, I think, on Paul Wade, as he's the man bending over, as he was going in to intercept the ball. The referee has given a free kick Australia's way. Paul Wade, who's been injured recently, and there was the clash involving Paul Wade, and the referee has given Australia the free kick. Here then is Steve Calderan, centre back for the champions of the National League, Marconi. The only man, curiously enough, from that lineup to be playing for Australia today. And that's a foul by Halligan, earning the wrath of the crowd. Frank Arnold looking decidedly more relaxed after the goal by Oscar Crino. And that's how it stands at the moment, with 27 minutes gone. Australia 1, New Zealand 0. Here's the free kick from Crino. Wade is up, and the header goes behind for a goal kick. It really is up to the New Zealanders now, John, to take the game to Australia. The Australians are looking very relaxed. They'll be looking for that second goal, but they won't be in any great hurry about it.
Well, I would think that will change at half-time. Once John Adshead gets them inside, New Zealand will be told in no uncertain manner they've really got to do a lot more once they get in possession, because a loss or even dropping a point here today means they're virtually out of it, Les. But they're there, I feel, for the taking now. Australia just have to get that all-important second goal, which will almost KO New Zealand. They have to do it now.
Graham Arnold, who's always looking for that elusive space between the two posts, making the run down the right. I'm not sure whether he meant that as a cross or a shot, but he's a very unhappy man when he can't score in a game. Frank Arup just analysing the tactical manoeuvre of the Australians in that particular move. But Graham Arnold looking for his 14th goal as a full Australian international. Here then is Paul Wade. Oscar Crino commanding as ever in midfield. Charlie Yankos. Wally Savor. Wade again. Now Yankos in lots of space, plenty of time to size up the options. Alan Davidson. Been around a long time, Alan Davidson. And forced off the ball by way of a foul by Tony Levy. And he's going to have a chat to him by the referee, who has been reluctant to pull out the coloured cards up until now. Wally Savor. Wade dispossessed illegally, and there comes one of the coloured cards. It's a yellow for Dave Witteveen, the first of the game. So the tackling just a little too rugged there for the liking of referee Takada, who is, by the way, a 41-year-old sports store manager and really one of the most respected referees in Asia. And that header in towards Ollerenshaw. Now Arnold, can he lash out with the right foot? He didn't have the room. In the end, Gosling goes down quite bravely. Whistle again in Australia's favour. This time the foul was on Wally Savor. Here's Tommy Mason. And Riley. Now Halligan. The New Zealanders running at the Australians now, who come back in great numbers to defend. That's not a bad ball. It's the long speculative pass. Dave Witteveen eluding one and then cracking it towards Olver, who's got problems with it. Dave Witteveen hitting that with much ferocity, and Jeffrey Olver had his problems with it. It was laid back by Noel Barkley. Witteveen sizing it up before he had the room to have a shot, and it went with awesome power, and Jeffrey Olver had his problems with it. Meantime, back at the other end, it's Graham Arnold. Past a half hour, 31 minutes gone now, and Australia lead the World Cup qualifier 1-0 and get the throw in. Here's Oscar Crino. Lofted in towards Arnold. Away by Dunford. Wade. Away by Evans that time. Wade again. The New Zealand defenders, one always feels feeling the pressure really. The clearances really go to their teammates. Crino. Riley. Now Halligan. Ricky Herbert. Levy. Looking to go past Davidson. The referee says there was obstruction. And the free kick will come in from Ricky Herbert, playing it right back. Lofted in, and two New Zealanders had a chance to connect. They did not, and here's Petersen. And now Ollerenshaw, plenty of space, but he needs support. The white shirts are coming back to reinforce the rear guard. Crino wanting to cut it back towards Spink. Didn't quite come off for him. Calderan. Yankos. Looking confident, and as Johnny Warren said, his long passes have been superb today. It's quite ironic that years ago one would criticize Charlie Yankos, if for nothing else, than for his long passing, which has not always been accurate. But it seems his European experience has been beneficial to him in that regard. Here he comes, trying to intercept. But the New Zealand, good save by Jeffrey Olver. Well, Jeff Olver is a reliable goalkeeper, and there was one reason why he's the Socceroos' #1 at the moment. This was a swift counter-attack by New Zealand. McClellan was the man who got away. Good positioning by Jeff Olver to tip it away. So really the closest the New Zealanders have come to scoring. Darren McClellan, and indeed a header needed to put the ball away. And again, Jeffrey Olver coming to Australia's rescue. There is the corner again. Jeff Olver up commandingly, coming out off his line, smothering the ball. Here's Shovel. Australia goes searching. Surviving one hairy, scary episode at the other end. Here's Wade. Crino. Petersen. Now Davidson on the overlap. Onto his right foot. He does favour his left, Alan Davidson, but he knows how to play with his right. That might set Frank Arrock, and that's all there was in it, really. He did the right thing, Alan Davidson. There was an opening to Clint Gosling's right. He sized it up and had a crack. That was unlucky not to hit the target. And really, most of the New Zealand defenders were watching the target man in the middle, as Alan Davidson tried it with his right foot. Wade, Spink, the whistle's gone again. And the Aussies wanting to get men up front for this free kick, which Charlie Yankos will take. Tapped by Oscar Crino. Here's Yankos, content to sweep it across to Calderan. He gave it away badly. Here's Herbert. Can't quite believe his luck at the moment. Levy. Well dispossessed jointly by Davidson and Crino. And now he's fouled. Referee quick to intercede just in case there was some recrimination, and it'll be Crino back to his goalkeeper. So there is the challenge again. Definitely a trip on Alan Davidson. The referee has been good, spotting the infringements very quickly. and has been pretty close to the action most of the way. Now here now is Arnold, back to Davidson. Through ball for Spink. If he wants support, finds it in Arnold. The man in the middle is Ollerenshaw. But Graham Arnold giving the ball away, and Kerry Evans's contentment to push the ball behind for a corner is becoming quite remarkable. He had plenty of time then to play the ball out of defence forward, but he elected to put it away for a corner. So that tells a story for Frank Arrock, I'm sure. Here's the corner then from Oscar Crino. Lofted in, punched again by Gosling. Davidson finds Crino, who's well onside. Makes the break. And that clearance didn't find its man. Here's Wade. Yankos. He can cut it in. Spink arrives and has another go. Finds only the side netting. So the Aussies putting the pressure on. Plenty of men forward for the corner. And Warren Spink, not very lucky when he received this ball from Charlie Yankos. Having a second attempt, Charlie Yankos did well to elude one man, cutting it back for Spink. He was then fortunate to get the ball back, but unlucky with his shot. So just on 5 minutes to go in the first half, John, no real problems for Australia. But as you said, much depends on what John Adshead will do to the New Zealanders at the break.
But still sufficiently close, Les. That scare we got with that brilliant save from Olver and the clearance from Savor, enough to remind the Socceroos that it's far from over, and I'm sure they realise that. I think they just have to apply a little bit more pressure in the second half. I feel the game is theirs for the taking. But one problem they have to overcome is that New Zealand tactically are playing very well against them. They're playing Levy, the number 7, wide on the right, Witteveen wide on the left, and they're restricting the contribution of Davidson and Wade respectively. And once you limit the contribution of Davidson and Wade, which has happened in this first half, you really take a lot of sting out of the Australian attack, and that's something Australia will have to overcome, and I'm sure they will when they get in at half-time. But a dangerous period for Australia now. They've had a good first half, been very patient. I think the crowd have to realise this is a tournament. It's not a grand final or a one-off game. The idea is to get the 2 points and go to Israel with those in your pocket. And in that sense, they've got to be very patient, don't make any mistakes at the back. And there's been signs in the last few minutes that there's been a lack in concentration at the back, a few silly mistakes. They've really got to tighten those up and just keep the pressure on, because I believe the game is theirs for the taking should they follow that path.
Well, in the meantime, John, more problems for New Zealand. They've had to make their first substitution. Danny Halligan has had to go off. He's the man who was suffering from that cut eye. And he's been replaced by another midfielder in the shape of number 8, Nigel Debenham, also from Mount Wellington. Incidentally, John Adshead, who coaches Mount Wellington in New Zealand, has really packed his squad with players from his club. There are 5 of them on the park, or now 6 at the moment, 8 of them in the squad. Here's Ollerenshaw for Australia. Witteveen losing it out. Here's Arnold, turned well, 2-0. Graham Arnold, 2-0 to Australia after 42 minutes in the first half. Graham Arnold scoring his 14th goal as a full international, his 19th goal as an Australian international, and he did so well here. He was forced out wide, the challenge came in, then he turned well and found the slightest of gaps between Clint Gosling and the New Zealand defender. John, a typical Graham Arnold goal, powerful, determined, and great shooting.
Yes, Arnie, our best performer for me in the first half, and it's a typical Arnie finish. He had a hand in the first goal. but just the hesitation before the shot just indicates what a class finisher he is. They say there's no such time, Les, as a good there's any time's a good time to score a goal, but going in at half time, 2 minutes to go now, 2 up. That is a real boost to the Socceroos. Their plan now in the second half is to really capitalise on, improve that goal difference, because unless they're to fall on their face in the second half with a 2-goal lead, it's hard to see New Zealand, and what we've seen in the first half, hard to see them pegging them back. But Arnold, a great goal, and Arnie, for my money, our best performer in the first half.
So Australia leading 2-0 with the minutes ticking away in this first half. Just a couple to go now, less than a couple. And what a good time to get that vital second goal. As you know, John, as a player, there's nothing better than to go into the dressing room with a goal just scored a few minutes earlier for comfort. And the New Zealanders really will be up against it in this second half.
Well, it really lifts the mood, the spirit in the dressing room. 1-0, going in at 1-0, it's still very open. Going in at 2, just scoring. Everybody's on a high. We've up to Frank Arrock now to keep them level-headed and put their feet back on the ground and really capitalise on what is a clear superiority in what we've seen in the first half.
So Jeff Olver prompting the Aussies to go forward again, and Spink nearly got away. Kerry Evans interceding for the New Zealanders. Here's Mickey Petersen. Crino. Crino again. Arnold down for Davidson. And the Aussies playing with a lot of confidence now. Crino, Arnold down. Crino again. He wants a free kick and he gets it. Well, Frank Arrock has not always been complimentary, certainly privately, to the referees that Australia has had in World Cup matches, but I don't think he can complain too much about Mr. Takada. He's done an excellent job here today. And Oscar Crino will take this free kick. And Wade is through. And that's gone away for a corner. Paul Wade almost making it 3-0. It's gone away for a corner after an interception. John Margaritis explaining a couple of things to Frank Arrock as the Aussies get yet another corner. Seconds to go before the whistle for the half-time break. Ollerenshaw with the corner in. Up goes Wade. And it's turned away for another corner. That's the way the Aussies will want to go into the dressing room at half-time, leading 2-0 and continuing the pressure until the whistle. And there goes the whistle for the half-time break. The Aussies in a most comfortable position. It was a tentative start, but the goal in the 15th minute by Oscar Crino gave Australia the relaxed mood that they needed, and from then on it really was all Australia's way, except for that one scare that Jeff Olver had at his end. Graham Arnold made it 2-0 with just 3 minutes to go before the break. And as we go into the dressing room, that's the half-time score. Australia 2, New Zealand 0. 0-0 in its opening Oceania World Cup qualifying match. And the story so far, Australia, of course, defeating Fiji on a 5-2 aggregate late last year. And New Zealand got here by virtue of an 8-1 aggregate victory over Chinese Taipei. And of course, since then, last week in Tel Aviv, they defeated Israel, or they were defeated by Israel 1-0. So all to play for in the second half. New Zealand in the white, this time attacking the goal to our left. So the pressure on the Kiwis. And Australia, one gets the feeling, has so much the better pedigree these days that just a little bit of relaxation is all they need to ensure victory. Got 45 minutes and 45 crucial minutes to go. And World Cup football can be most unpredictable and most ungratifying. Here's a free kick straight away to New Zealand. And there are some of the Aussie fans tainted up for the occasions. So here then is the free kick, lofted in, and McClellan almost got up for it. New Zealanders will be wanting to put the pressure on. There's absolutely, need I say, no sense in being cautious at this stage. Losing 1-0 in Tel Aviv, 2-0 down in Sydney. They simply have to have a go. Tackle coming in from Tommy Mason. Here's Spink for Australia. Pushed from behind. Free kick to the Socceroos. We have come a long way under Frank Arok's reign. This is his 81st international match. And he has won more than half of those. In comes the free kick from Mickey Petersen, forcing Arnold out wide. With him was Ricky Herbert, who clears for the throw. Davidson. Ollerenshaw with a tap down. Right-footed cross from Davidson in towards Crino. Now Wade looking for Arnold, who shields the ball well. Back it goes for Calderan. And Scotty Ollerenshaw not quite getting the right bounce for the overhead, which is what he had in mind. The Kiwis on the break. Here's McClellan. He's got a good turn on him. Brought down. A foul. The referee right on the spot to penalise Steve Calderan. Free kick to the Kiwis. No, the referee wants it on that spot. And Steve Calderan penalised for that trip. And Tommy Mason lining up to take this free kick. Lofted in. The tall men are up there for New Zealand, and almost getting in was Kerry Evans. Steve Calderan coming to the Aussies' rescue. And this kind of pressure is something the Socceroos will have to cope with in this second half. It'll be the first corner of this second period going to New Zealand. And that's the crowd here today. A modest crowd, it has to be said, not as great as one would have hoped. Charlie Yankos giving away the corner. And what great memories he must have of this ground. 2 goals against the world champions. One in that goal, now protected by Jeff Olver from that fabulous free kick. And in comes the corner. Jeff Olver, and it's just over, but the whistle's gone. The whistle had gone before the shot was made by McClellan. And there it is again, a corner coming in. Bit of grappling and pushing and shoving there. And Jeff Olver fouled before the shot was made. Have a good look at it again. Jeff Olver fouled by Malcolm Dunford. So here then is the free kick by Charlie Yankos. And looking for it is Graham Arnold, and I think he might get it. No, he won't. Mason. Crino. Spink. Arnold's made his way in the middle. Spink all by himself, having to play it back. Petersen square for Wade. He's going to crack it with the left, but not enough power behind it to worry Clint Gosling. And Frank Arok's ready to smile, knows the adrenaline is there by the Aussies. And it was sheer ambition, this one really, from Paul Wade. Good shot, but no real power behind it to worry Clint Gosling. Here's Alan Davidson. Wally Savor. Steve Calderan. And Charlie Yankos. And Paul Wade forward. Wanting to make the run. The ball just hit a bit too far ahead of him. Paul Wade, one of the success stories of the team rebuilt after the 1985 campaign by Frank Arup. Arnold. Mason. Barkley finds Herbert. Levy's on the right. Here's McClellan. Now Levy. Does well. Going past Davidson. Davidson sprinting after him. But the cross is in. Away by Yankos. Ricky Herbert down again. Levy. Confident play by him. And the cross just a touch overhit. Lovely day here at the Sydney Football Stadium. The kind of weather which deserved a bigger crowd than we've got here today, even though rain and storms were forecast. Australian throw. It'll be taken by Petersen, the referee calling the play back by about 5 metres. Riley was the man who got the free kick. Here's Mason. Now Debenham. Tommy Mason again. Away by Calderan. Shovel. That time Shovel gets the free kick. Free kicks have been quite frequent today. Nothing really that has eluded referee Takada. And the Aussie fans in a joyous mood. Charlie Yankos looking for Paul Wade. And that's still in play, but not now. John, one of the most admirable things about the Socceroos of the modern era is that even with victories like the one against Argentina and the Olympic Games and so on under their belt, complacency is not something they get into too much.
No, they're a well-disciplined side. Mental toughness is a word often used to describe them. It's one that Frank Arup is proud to say that his team has. But looking at New Zealand, it's really all or nothing now. There's some 30-odd minutes to go now. Otherwise, the World Cup's all over for them. And it's very difficult to see them getting back in the game. The only way is from free kicks, which Australia may give away near the edge of the box, where they can put them in the air and trouble Olver and the rest of the defence, or corner kicks. And apart from that, and it's without being unkind to them, it's difficult to see them in general play with interpassing and speed and dribbling skills being able to trouble the Australians, particularly the Yankos playing so well covering at the back. So the real danger going to come from set pieces, and Australia to counter that should not under any circumstances give away free kicks in that dangerous area just outside the box.
Here then is Mickey Petersen coming into the side after the injury of Jason Polak. He did come on as a sub in the second match against Malmo, and this is a good run from Wade. Arnold, can he score? Yes, he can. Second goal for Graham Arnold, and Australia lead 3-0. Graham Arnold, his 15th goal for Australia in full international. He hits the 20 mark in overall international matches, and we've had 10 minutes gone in the second half, and Australia have gone further into the lead to hammer in a further nail in New Zealand's World Cup coffin. Paul Wade got away, found himself totally free, and in mid-fall, Graham Arnold planted it into the back of the net. It really is worth another look. It was a lovely ball through, even though the New Zealand player was closer to it. But somehow, Paul Wade got the ball through the indiscretion of the New Zealand defender, and Graham Arnold did the rest. So, with 10 minutes gone in the second half, it's Australia 3, New Zealand nil. John.
Yes, a splendid finish from Arnie. He, even though he was falling, the presence of mind not to hit it low because Gosling had it covered, but still be able to scoop it up. And that, of course, now gives the 3-goal break should be really consolidated on by the Aussies now. They should aim at 5 or even perhaps 6 goals because goal difference can be worth another point. And then should they be able to get a couple extra this afternoon, that in effect is going to give them an extra point because should goal difference decide this group, which could well be the case, Australia with, say, a 4 or 5 home town victory is vastly superior to Israel's sole 1-0 victory in Tel Aviv. But Arnie having a splendid game. It's been his match so far, involved in 1 goal and scoring 2.
So Steve Calderan reveling in plenty of space, wanting to go forward. He hasn't done that all day. A lovely back heel. The whistle's gone, though, for offside against Alan Davidson. So a substitution for Australia. A man favoured by many as a man who should be a permanent fixture in the Aussie side, and that's Robbie Slater to come on, or at least warming up. So we might just see him get a run any minute now. Tommy Mason for New Zealand. And now it's Dave Witteveen trying what New Zealanders ought to be trying from now on. A shot from any distance. Have a go. Take the gamble. Would be the order of the day now. Here's Charlie Yankos. Warren Spink. Success story of the Aussies in the recent past. Davidson confidently out-dribbling Darren McClellan. Wally Savor. Paul Wade. Ollerenshaw gives it away. But it comes back to Paul Wade, who finds Warren Spink, who's onside. No, he's not. He's been called by the linesman on this side. A bit touch and go. But the linesman right on the spot. Warren Spink denied. Free kick to the Kiwis. Evans. Well, we've just learned that the official attendance here today is 13,621, which is not too bad. Doesn't quite look that from where we sit, but then again, this is a vast stadium, difficult to tell. But no doubt if it goes down to the wire when Australia plays Israel here on the 16th of April, it'll be a lot more than that. In the meantime, the Australians need good results in Tel Aviv and in Auckland. And now Ollerenshaw's away and onside. Arnold's in the middle. It's too far ahead of him. Wade back. Clint Gosling committing himself. Wade getting to the ball quicker. And another very hairy, scary situation for New Zealand. So a good break by the Aussies, denied that time. And 3-0 it remains. So free kick this time to the Kiwis. As we approach the quarter of an hour in this second half. In comes the cross. Well away. Here's Arnold. And now Ollerenshaw's away. Lots of space ahead of him. Arnold's running into the middle. But Ollerenshaw tried to chip the keeper, do it all on his own. Graham Arnold looks across with some anger. Frank Arnold rubs his eyes, wondering what may have been. But Scotty Ollerenshaw got away well. I suppose you can't blame him for wanting to have a go. There was only the keeper to beat, but he miscued the shot, and New Zealand survived. And really was a lot of space in front of Scotty Ollerenshaw here. He could have crossed it, he could have chipped the keeper, In the end, he chose the letter, but failed. So 3-0 it remains to Australia with 16 minutes gone in this second half. So Australia get another free kick. And it'll be taken by Charlie Yankos. Savor. New Zealanders running out of options up front. One does tend to feel for them. They really haven't been able to get it together in that department, and without wishing to make excuses for them, John Outside really hasn't had all that much time to prepare his team. And then, of course, Frank Arok has had his problems with his overseas-based players away. And two of them, remember, Eddie Krinčević and Frank Farina, will be available to take their places in the Socceroo lineup in Tel Aviv next Sunday. So Robbie Slater finally to come on to make his 6th appearance in the Socceroo shirt. And the question, and it'll be Warren Spink who's coming off. So Warren Spink substituted by Robbie Slater. I suspect just to give Robbie a bit of a run, because he might be useful later in the campaign. He's a strong, powerful player, taller than the two smaller strikers, Ollerenshaw and Spink. And Frank Arok, even though Warren Spink did not disgrace himself today, does need Robbie Slater to have a run in these qualifying games. I'm sure you'd agree, John.
Yes, it's good change. Spink has been a sensation since he's come into the Socceroo team, but I think in fairness to him, it hasn't been one of his better days today, and that happens quite often as a player, and hence the change for me is a good one. Slater, been on the fringe for so long, and now an opportunity to perhaps stake his claim in a more tangible manner for a permanent place in the Socceroo lineup. But I think the change is good also, because there's a tendency, once you get in front by 3, Les, to start to take it a little bit easy. The game's virtually over, and I think there is a necessity now for Australia really to consolidate. New Zealand are on the floor. They've really got to finish the knockout and get as many goals as they can. Slater's the type of guy that can contribute to that happening.
So Robbie Slater on. He played well as a substitute in the match against Argentina in the Bicentennial Gold Cup here last year. Memories of that will come flooding back to boost his confidence. Wally Savor forward for Graham Arnold. Crino back for Savor. And Yankos wanted that switched over the other side, which is what Savor did. Calderan. That really was a confident pass from Wally Savor, almost across the face of goal. Here then is Robbie Slater, eluding 2 men. Good turn, explosive runner off the ball. Good ball inside for Paul Wade. And now square it goes for Davidson, who can get across in here. And it's a low one in for Slater. Leaving it for Davidson. It'll be a right-footed cross in towards Ollerenshaw, almost poking his left foot in. And New Zealand survive. It really is a joy to see a confident Australia perform, particularly in attack. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. Calderan losing out. Crino winning it in the air. Here's Slater's on the left, but it's towards Scott Ollerenshaw, who's got 2 men. And lovely back heel. Here's Arnold, and now Crino. Arnold again, he just miscued the left footer. What a lovely move by Australia. Perhaps the move of the match, certainly in terms of arrogant confidence. Lovely stuff, this. Oscar Crino and Graham Arnold involved. There's Crino with a return ball, went for the run, and Graham Arnold tried a left-footed shot. Somehow his timing deserted him in the last second. Here then is Slater. And he wants it on his right foot. And no foul, says the referee, as Slater looks at him. Tommy Mason and the New Zealanders now in a very secondary role in this match. And just tapped back by Paul Wade, who's played his role to perfection today. Here's Petersen. Slater. Davidson's made a run on the left. Diagonal run from Arnold. One gets the feeling that as the minutes tick away, and there are 22 gone now in the second half, there might just be more goals in it here for Australia, and wouldn't those fans love that? They're a lovely bunch of youngsters. A lot of them come down from Newcastle, in fact, to support the Socceroos, which is a great hub of support for the Australian national team. And our compliments to them. Here's Crino losing out. Now Debenham. Mason. He's been a busy man on this left flank. The crowd thought that may have been handball, but it wasn't. Clint Gosling, who's had some fine games against Australia, could do nothing against an Australian attack in very positive mood today. Here's Arnold, one of the more positive of the two-goal hero today. There is the incident again. And the Australians have taken their free kick. Here's Wade with Slater. Crino in to Ollerenshaw. Well, with him was Kerry Evans. Now with Oxford United in England, Evans, and here he comes again. There are men forward now for the New Zealanders. Here's Barkley. But it's gone away off Charlie Yankos for a corner. Yankos, a commanding figure at the back, and that's one reason why Frank Arrock wanted him back for these games, because of his commanding personality, a true captain in every sense of the word. In comes the corner then, and committed was Jeffrey Olver, and it's gone in. So it's 3-1 to Australia. The man who put it in was Malcolm Dunford against the run of play, but it's well worth examination. The corner came in, it was an in-swinger, and Jeffrey Olver was quickly off his line. By then it was too late. He had to track back, and there were two players on the line who tried to clear, and neither of them could manage it. So Malcolm Dunford, I think, was the man who got the last touch. And by then, have a look at Jeff Olver, right on the 6-yard line, committed. He came for the cross, didn't go up for it, and it was too late for Australia. So, with 25 minutes gone in the second half, Australia 3, New Zealand 1.
Well, in our opening remarks, there's an earlier in the game, and even in the second half, we felt that if New Zealand were to get back in, it was going to be from a set piece. But really full credit to them for taking the opportunity. But there was some bad defending by Australia. Jeff Olver caught in between no man's land, no one challenging the header of the ball. And that was a bit of sloppy play for Australia. They won't be happy with that. And the other aspect, of course, now it gives them only a 2-goal advantage. And this is a game that's there for at least a 4-goal advantage for Australia. And that goal against them could, should Australia not be able to score in the remainder of the game, could well count against them in the final analysis. But a very sloppy goal to be conceded by Australia.
So 3-1 it is, as one wonders whether Australia will try to protect its lead now and play the possession game, or in fact be confident enough to go for more. I feel that a 4 or 5 minute spell of cushioning any inspiration from the New Zealanders will be enough, and then the Australians can attack again. Here's Calderan. Crino. Petersen. Inside him is Arnold. Can he turn onto it? Yes, he can, but he miscued the shot. Graham Arnold won't be happy with that at all. The quality of his shooting is normally much better than that. Petersen putting in a lovely ball, and Arnie just a bit in too much of a hurry to take the shot. The original move came from Oscar Crino. Petersen did very well, good vision, and miscuing the shot was Graham Arnold. Here he is again. Wide on the right is Slater, but too far behind now. Arnie wants to go on his own. Petersen. Crino is one of the options. Now Slater. And a lovely curling cross. Arnold down, and the header was good, but it was cushioned with a head of an interceding New Zealand defender. Lovely cross from Robbie Slater after he's taken a couple of steps, and Graham Arnold rising well for it. But Kerry Evans was there, and now a yellow card has gone, I think, to Charlie Yankos. No, in fact it was it'll be Australia who will get the free kick. So it looks like Darren McClellan who got the yellow card. While we were watching that replay, the second yellow card of the game, both going to New Zealanders. And this might just show us what happened there. But this is a replay of that header, in fact, from Arnold, which Arnie was most unlucky with. So Witteveen and McClellan getting the yellow cards for New Zealand. The 2 yellow cards of the game. Steve Calderan, the man down, the casualty. But Graham Arnold, I suppose with a bit more luck, John, could have scored even more than the 2 he has so far.
Yes, more and more prominent. That was unlucky because it did catch a defender, the header. But New Zealand, a little bit too aggressive. One can understand their frustration. It's been a long trip for them up in Tel Aviv last week and now down here. But to their credit, Australia's played a very clean game. Just a couple of unnecessary fouls they gave away in crossing positions just after half-time. But apart from that, it's been a very clean game from Australia, and that will be a factor that will delight them. Looking forward to next Sunday in Tel Aviv, with the Israelis such experts at bending the ball from free kicks just outside the box. It's an aspect of their play that Australia has to pay attention to. And certainly this afternoon, again, apart from a couple of free kicks after half-time, they've handled that area in an exemplary manner.
Free kick then to Australia, to be taken by Charlie Yankos. And plenty of men forward for the Aussies now. Up goes Arnold, leaves it for Davidson. In the middle is Wade. There he is, glancing it on. Gosling was out well. Scotty Ollerenshaw not happy that the ball didn't get to him. Paul Wade did well. Alan Davidson getting on the end of the long pass, and a good cross in to Wade, who glanced it on towards Ollerenshaw, but Gosling was out quickly. Here now is Slater as the Aussies go forward again. Well done. Short one in. Ollerenshaw wants to score with his right. Sidestepping 2 defenders, and Frank Arrock is wondering why more of these attacks are not resulting in goals for Australia. And you might well wonder, because the Aussies could have had 4 or 5 by now. Scotty Ollerenshaw, the man missing out that time, with the right footer.
Yes, Les, the game's there for at least a 4-goal difference for Australia. One of the reasons it's not on the scoreboard is that Scotty Ollerenshaw, usually a fine finish, has had several chances this afternoon. That was one of them. And again, as quite happens with strikers, the day comes when the ball won't roll for you to make the incorrect decision at that critical time. And that's certainly been the type of day that Scotty's had so far.
Here's Slater. Deflection. Yes, indeed, John, in the last campaign in 1985, Frank relied for all of his goals on Chinese Taipei. Well, they're not in this group now, or there's no Chinese Taipei to wallop by 8 or 9 goals. We have to score goals whenever the opportunities present themselves. Here's Wade. Good cross under pressure. Out comes Gosling, beating Scotty Ollerenshaw once again to the ball. And Paul Wade is fast emerging as one of the men of the second half, being utilised more often than he was in the first. But Gosling too doing well. And that's a good ball, and the flag stays down. Ollerenshaw, he must make it 4. Penalty. Whistle's gone. Such a shame for Scotty Ollerenshaw, because he had the goal, the open goal at his mercy, beating Clint Gosling, who will say that he had no choice but to bring the man down. A professional foul in the end. Scotty Ollerenshaw had to score from there, except for the hands of Clint Gosling.
What a fine ball from Crino too, Les. The timing of the pass, so often in cases like that, the ball is given too late and the attacking player runs offside. The delivery was beautiful, allowed Ollerenshaw to get through. Charlie Yankos, so expert, an aspect of his game he practices, takes up to 50 penalty kicks at every training session, scores most, hopefully this one.
Charlie Yankos, the last time he scored for Australia was from a penalty right from that spot against Argentina. And he does so again, and it's 4-1 to the Aussies. Charlie Yankos, 33 minutes into the second half. So no doubt about it now, for sure. Charlie Yankos, 3 goals in his last 2 appearances on this ground. And indeed, I will just correct that little error. He did score against Fiji in that World Cup qualifying game in December. But on this ground, who shall forget his 2 goals against Argentina? But today another, so it's Australia 4, New Zealand 1, with 33 minutes gone in the second half. And away they come again. This is Robbie Slater. Left-footed cross, and Arnold again hitting it first time. Well, he scored 2, but Frank Arnold knows and wonders why. Lately, Graham Arnold's shooting boots have let him down. The damage was done by his partner in crime at Sydney, Croatia, Robbie Slater, and the volley, or the half volley I should say, ballooning over the bar. So a comfortable scoreline, and John, if we look back to that scoreline between Israel and New Zealand in Tel Aviv, a very good scoreline indeed. And we must now look ahead to what the options are in Tel Aviv next Sunday.
Yes, well, Farina and Krenčević, both available. Both will be meeting up with the team in Athens when the boys arrive there on Monday. One would think with both being available, they will play. And I think it's fairly obvious that Arnold would retain his place, and Ollerenshaw and Spink would make way for Krenčević and Farina respectively. Krenčević playing more perhaps on the left side, Farina in his more traditional right-handed role. But I would think that's going to be the obvious solution, Les, for next Sunday in Tel Aviv. A forward line of Farina, Arnold and Krenčević.
So looking forward to that next Sunday. This match just about done for the Australians. And of course that match will be brought to you live next Sunday throughout Australia at midnight, live from the Ramat Gan in Tel Aviv. Meantime, here's Graham Arnold, pulled down, and that too should have deserved the yellow card. It's the only blemish that I can see from referee Takada.
Witteveen's been involved. He's already had a yellow. He's been involved in a few of the bad fouls today. There's the professional foul, the one we're so much against, should be punished more heavily than with nothing, as he's going to get now, but should have been a yellow, and being Witteveen's second, he should have been sent off.
So free kick then, and it'll be Oscar Crino, or will it be Charlie Yankos? We know how he can hit them from this sort of distance. And indeed, it'll be Charlie who will hit it, and it ricochets off the wall. Well, the Argentine luck has deserted him so far today. If he had scored from a free kick as well as the one he'd scored from a penalty, it would have been a very similar story. Here, though, is Slater. Still searching for his first goal for Australia. So it's been a good day for Australia in their opening second round Oceania qualifying group match for the 1990 World Cup. It's a long way still between now and Italy, but a more confident Australian team we have rarely seen in the past. Calderan, new cap today, has played the game quite faultlessly. Wally Savor giving away the throw. It'll be Ricky Herbert's throw. Barkley. Ricky Herbert did well. High cross up towards Dunford. Levy, but Crino gets there quicker. Here's Slater, back for Petersen. Handball. Free kick to Australia. And Jeffrey Olver letting the ball go, and the referee doesn't like that one bit. He knows that Jeffrey Olver was only killing time by letting that ball go, and the referee is right. Quickly on the spot. So a free kick it'll be to Australia, taken by Charlie Yankos, just tapping it to Jeff Olver, who's playing his 35th for international today. Made his debut against China back in 1985. When he came on as a substitute for Terry Greedy up in Brisbane. Here's Slater. Scotty Ollerenshaw. Petersen down for Crino. Good ball through, almost made it. Tommy Mason intervened. Here's Tony Levy, robbed by Mickey Petersen. Good work by Mickey Petersen not to give up. Crino, back for Davidson, who's got no options on that left-hand side. And not much running off the ball up front for the Aussies now. Wade. It is a very warm day, I must point out again, and very humid as well. It's been stiflingly hot all week here in Sydney, and that sort of weather continued today. So Andy Koczka is rewarded for his fine display last week against Malmo by coming on to replace Charlie Yankos, and that's not a sign for Arnold, and the whistle's gone offside against Graham Arnold. And we are now into injury time in the World Cup qualifier between Australia and New Zealand. 4-1 the scoreline, and 4-1 is how it ends. The Australians triumph against the Kiwis in their opening game in this second round of the Oceania group. So there's the scoreline. Australia 4, New Zealand 1. Andy Pascalidis is on the sidelines.
Thanks, Les. And with me on the sideline are two very proud Australian Socceroo players, Charlie Yankos, the captain, and Graham Arnold. Well, Charlie came off a bit earlier on in the second half there. We'll have a chat to you first of all. Graham, you must be proud to score 2 goals against the Kiwis.
Yeah, I was happy to score 2 goals, but would have liked me hat-trick, but we played well. That was the main thing, and we got the 2 points.
It's going to be tough on Frank now. He's going to bring back Krenkovic and Farina.
Well, it's a nice problem to be in, wouldn't it, to have to select a team now after playing that well, but you know, Eddie and Frankie are great players and we need them for the qualifiers.
What about the Kiwis today? Did you expect them to play like that?
I think that